if there's a mistake I've made in the 30 plus years I've been in business, I've moved people on too slowly, you know, and you know, I've moved people on too slowly, and at times I've hired people too fast. So I've given people opportunities, given people a job without getting, without, I could have slowed down a lot more to make sure that they were the right person, to make sure that they're very clear on the terms and conditions, so that when they don't work out, that I can move them on fast. And I think that's a huge mistake that I see in many businesses. And then you get a feeling like, this person doesn't really fit in. I'll keep them because, you know, having them is better than having no one. What I've found is that no, the problem is if you get a feeling, if they're not working out early on, they're going to create problems down the line. Not that they're bad people, and that's, I think, where we make a mistake. They're not bad people. They're just the wrong people. You don't want the wrong people in your business. The problem is the wrong people end up turning into bad people. And that's where we create conflict, confrontation, and all that sort of stuff. So take your time in hiring. Be clear on what type of person you want, how they fit into your organization, and what they're going to do. Get absolute clarity in terms of the steps and the deliverables, and get absolute clarity with yourself and with them on what it means for them to stay in the business and what it means for them to leave the business if they're not.
So then is that then, would you consider that those behaviors, those actions that they've got to take to go and do this?
So the actions are the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But the behaviors are things like, well, if they agree to make 10 calls a day, are they going to honor the agreement?
Okay.
So if I say to someone, can you go out and knock on 10 doors? And they say, yes, I can. Well, I expect them to go do that. If they don't, well, then either they're lying, they're bullshitting, or they don't know how to do it, but they're not putting their hand up and saying they don't know how to do it. So what they did is they broke the behavior of honoring the agreement. They dishonored the agreement. Now, if they continue dishonoring their agreements with me, I'm not going to trust them. If I don't trust them, I can't have them in my business. Does that make sense? So you create that in a very clear set of behaviors. You know, in Blair Singer's book, Team Code of Honor up here, he outlines, and I've been implementing that in businesses for 20 plus years. He outlines the core fundamentals of building what we call context and creating a very clear context, very clear culture, very clear code of honor, very clear set of behaviors that people fit into.